Hello, everyone. My name is Christmas Uchiyama. And first of all, I would like to thank the INREM UPLB for inviting APN to have a talk in this session and to co-organize this session. It is my pleasure to be here today on behalf of the APN Secretariat. And I'm going to talk on strengthening policy relevance and impact, APN's capacity development program in Southeast Asia, and prospects towards popularizing circular and ecological sphere in the region. So first of all, please allow me to show the outline of my presentation. As you can see here, we have the introduction about APN and the things that we do in strengthening policy relevance and impact. So we have the capacity development program of APN and the work that we have related to circular and ecological economy. And lastly, our work on synthesis work and knowledge sharing. So just a brief of introduction. We are a network composed of 22 countries in Asia Pacific region, which was established in 1996. And actually this year is our 25th anniversary. And we are actually based in Kobe, Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. And our main donors are the Ministry of the Environment of Japan and the Hyogo Prefectural Government of Japan. So we have 6 focus areas or focus thematic areas, such as climate, biodiversity and ecosystems, air, land, coast and oceans, food, water and energy, risk and resilience, and human dimensions. And in our strategic plan of 2020 to 2024, we are having the strategic goals as below, which is regional research, capacity development, science policy linkage, and community engagement. So especially in this 5th strategic phase, we would like to focus more on enhancing our community engagement and collaboration with like-minded individuals and groups. So we would like to contribute to global agendas such as SDGs and Paris Agreement and Sendai Disaster Risk Reduction Framework and post-Aichi biodiversity targets, as well as other global agendas such as the UN Decade of Ocean Science and the global assessments such as the IPCC or the International Panel on Climate Change and IPES, or the Intergovernmental Platform for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. So you can see here a list of focus activities that we are focusing or giving more attention in this 5th strategic plan, such as new research initiatives that are linked with AP-PLAT and WCRP Coredex program, and also the circular and ecological economy, which includes the initiatives related to zero carbon city and nature-based solutions and some aspects of climate smart agriculture. Also, we would like to heighten our support to early career scientists in the region through tailored research activities and programs that meet their specific needs. And also, and finally, we would like to strengthen the linkages between scientists, policymakers, and practitioners, and be able to sustain provision of sound scientific information for policymaking processes. So I highlighted here 2 aspects, which is capacity building and the circular and ecological economy, which I'm going to talk about later in this presentation. Now, when it comes to capacity development, APN defines capacity development as a process wherein individuals, groups, communities, organizations, governing bodies, and society in general enhance their awareness and capabilities in order to respond effectively to the challenges of global change and sustainability by use of existing resources or by empowering existing resources so that they can effectively perform the function and be able to solve give solutions and solve problems of global change. Now, we have here 3 levels of capacity development, and I think some of you are very familiar with it. One is individual-based capacity development. Second one is group organization network-based capacity development. And 3 is society's governance and system-level capacity development. So you can see here in the figure that it gives a butterfly effect in the sense that when you capacitate one individual, it goes around to the other circle, and the impact can go up to the level of the society and governance. So through the years, the APN has funded a lot of capacity building projects. And in this slide, I would like to say that we have analyzed 183 projects of capacity development or under the capacity development program. And from the 183 projects, we run the cluster analysis based on the abstracts of each project. And what we found out is that there is 5 main clusters captured from the projects that has been supported through the years. And those clusters are the colors of circles that you can see on your screen now. So most of the capable projects, they are more for supporting workshops, training, knowledge and awareness raising, and also some activities that's linked with concepts of adaptation and understanding of risk and impacts, as well as community development and a more effective resource management. We also found out that capable activities cover specific and related topics to biodiversity and forest, and also some other specialized topics such as technology dissemination and diffusing experience and skills, as well as enhancing collaboration and partnership. In here, I would like to show the sub-regional trend of the capable projects. What you can see here is that the capable projects in South Asia are characterized mainly by adaptation and also by climate smart agriculture interventions. So I think those projects that are related to climate smart agriculture are very common in South Asia. And as you know, climate smart agriculture is a form of adaptation in countries in South Asia, wherein people depend a lot on agriculture for livelihood and for economic income. So on the other hand, in Southeast Asia, we have topics that cover biodiversity, forest, water, or a more cross-cutting approach or a more diverse landscape approach on natural resources management. And another thing that's in here for Southeast Asia is the tool, or somewhat it's related to assessment tools or support tools and applications that can provide or support resource planning and resource management. While in temperate East Asia, we have here issues that are related to risk information and the engagement of research communities. So those are the nature of capable projects in temperate East Asia. Lastly, in Pacific, it is somewhat related to Southeast Asia in a way, perhaps due to the issues relating to geography, and as Southeast Asia is a sub-region having the most of proximity to the Pacific. So I'd like to move on now on key capable projects in Southeast Asia. And in this slide, I would like to briefly talk about these 3 projects, which later on will be discussed further by succeeding presenters. And the first one is on enhancing resilience through capacity building in local climate change adaptation plan formulation in the province of Aurora, Philippines. Second one is on rainwater harvesting for climate change adaptation of smallholder farmers in Albay province, Philippines, experiences, lessons, and prospects. And the third one is on promoting climate change adaptation strategies via agroforestry learning laboratories in selected upland farming communities in Southeast Asia. So now the question is, what is common among all of these projects? What I could say is that there is a shared learning scheme. There is this identified set of stakeholders and beneficiaries. There is a governance mechanism. And that means that these 3 projects are contributing to enhancing institutional resilience. And lastly, they are all aimed to advance the socio-ecological resilience and to promote climate adaptive actions at the ground. When we talk about adaptive actions at the ground or localizing climate resilience, what I have in mind is the APN KRC-RCS scoping project. Actually, this is an ongoing project, a collaborative one between between IGES, or the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, the Kansai Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, Kansai Research Center, and our organization APN. And the objectives of this project is to promote the concept of RCS, or Regional Circular and Ecological Sphere, which is a concept coined by the Ministry of Environment of Japan. And this concept focuses on using a more integrative approach on natural resources management and on meeting the multiple global agenda and global targets, such as SDGs and the Paris Agreement, as well as the Sendai Framework. So this concept is now being applied in Japan, and it's based on the long-term Uchiyama initiative, which has been applied in the country using concepts of people in harmony with nature. So going back to the scoping project, what we would like to do is to examine the CES framework and its applicability in the country context in Vietnam, in the Philippines, and in Thailand. And second is to support the improvement or contextualization of the CES framework at both country and regional levels. And third one is to identify and design supporting or complementary programs and criteria for impact measurement. So all these three programs, we hope, all these three objectives, we hope could encourage the uptake and promotion of circular ecological sphere in harnessing rural-urban pathways and in designing a resilient, regenerative, and distributive economy, as opposed to a more major productive economy. So you can see the figure here, the interlinkage between cities and mountainous area or rural area. And this is a figure from the Ministry of Environment of Japan, and it's just showing how cities can depend on the local resources from the rural areas, and also how rural areas can depend on cities, which are now coined as centers of change, for revitalizing their communities and revitalizing their livelihood. So at the end of the synergy that these two spatial elements have, or spatial places, opposing places have, is the achievement of a self-reliant and decentralized society. Now in Japan, this is a figure of one RCS model, or a common RCS model in Japan. And this shows that urban is the center, and the urban areas rely on the natural resources coming from rural areas, such as food, water, and energy. And here, this highlights the understanding of the interconnection between food, water, and energy, and that there should be a more collaborative mechanism and a more synergistic approach in being able to see how these two areas can support each other, and what are the trade-offs when, for example, urban areas prioritizes water than other resources, or when an urban area prioritizes or utilizes energy over other natural resources. So I think that this is a very nice example of mechanism that could help in solving issues in the rural areas of Japan, wherein the problems of the population and aging society is common. Now, moving on to the strategies to promote CES. As I've mentioned, CES is targeting to do or promote activities that are in line with integrative management of resources, and in promoting how we could effectively use local resources, and how we could also enhance the quality of lives of people in the rural area. So one strategy that has been mentioned by the Ministry of Environment of Japan is the community revitalization through introduction of renewable energies. Second one is the use of natural resources to create a regional CES. So in the second point, there are examples such as the revitalization of local industries and the use of national parks and promoting them for ecotourism, such as the utilization of wood biomass resources. While going back to the second point, examples include promotion of low carbon technologies, and as well as local production of food and also local production of energy. So what about in Asia? This point is, I think, one of the objectives of our project, which is to examine what strategies could work or could be applicable in the Asian context. Now, for the progress of the project, we are in the process of partner identification, and we are actually now preparing the workshop for the Philippines workshop, which will be conducted in February 2022. And we have identified INREM as a partner in this endeavor. And you can see here that once we have conducted the workshop, we would like to validate the framework, the RCS framework, with the decision makers and other relevant stakeholders in these 3 countries, and to contextualize or update the CES framework. And by holding the national workshops, we also hope to identify supporting programs or complementary programs related to RCES. So now we are kind of the process of reviewing examples of circular and ecological sphere projects, or those projects related to CES that are supported by APN, either those related indirectly or directly. So we've done a simple analysis of the APN projects that are related to RCES. And in here, you can see that water, waste, and climate are frequently mentioned. And also watershed or water networks can be categorized as the spatial component of RCES in some of the projects. So we base this analysis on 30 projects that are funded by APN, and some of them are under the Collaborative Regional Research Program, while also a couple of them are under the Capacity Development Program. And a few examples also of projects are coming from the Resource Utilization and Pathway for Sustainable Development Program. This is an old program that we have around in the early 2000s, and as well as Local Carbon Initiative framework that we have also in the early year 2000s. So we also did co-occurrence network analysis of these 30 projects, and we have found out the dominant clusters of water, waste, and climate, as well as the connections between water, resource management, city, and development. And this might be referring to projects that are, for example, done in urban areas and are catered towards management, or how you could develop a more effective or resilient water management system in cities, given the urbanization and the fast development of cities. And additionally, we have here a connection, we also see here a connection between policy, capacity, stakeholder, and approach. And this could be related to those projects that are more of capacity development in nature, and more of touching on the adaptive governance, or those projects that have a kind of more policy-oriented approach. And while I showed you a while ago the review of the related projects to RCES, we are also in parallel working on a framework, and based on the source that you can see at the bottom here on examples of RCES in Japan, published in 2019 by MOEJ, we have this working framework that characterizes the key elements of RCES. One is independent decentralized energy system. Second is disaster resilient cities. And third one is human-friendly attractive transport and mobility system. Fourth one is healthy lifestyle of a sense of connection to nature. And fifth one is creation of diverse businesses. So these are the key elements of RCES according to the sources that we have gathered and published by the Ministry of Environment of Japan. And we hope that we could list down more examples under each group, and also update the examples depending on the context in each of the country that we are conducting the workshop in. Now, I mentioned a while ago that APN is doing a lot of synthesis work now and knowledge sharing. And of course, this is also one of the ways how APN is strengthening and enhancing its policy impact. So one is the synthesis work that we have conducted. And we came up with one paper here in 2020 titled Climate Change Research in Asia, a knowledge synthesis of Asia-Pacific Network for Global Change Research. This has been published by the Environmental Research Journal. And what we found out here is that from 163 knowledge products that have been produced from APN-supported projects, we categorize or we analyze those knowledge products with the thematic typology of IPCC and found out that among the 10 typologies that IPCC used in its assessment report, there are 3 dominant themes, which includes biodiversity, water, and disaster risk reduction. Now, on the second paper, we have here the assessing contribution to the Sendai Framework, case study of climate adaptation and disaster risk reduction projects across sectors in Asia Pacific. What we found out here is that there are barriers when it comes to building disaster risk reduction strategies. And that includes the lack of structural measures that could help in reducing risk. And another one is the lack of mainstreaming disaster risk reduction in development plans. And lastly is the lack of financial mechanisms and sources that could help in making the adaptation plans and adaptation solutions, adaptation mechanisms more stronger than what we have in the past. And lastly, I would just like to say that we always do a lot of knowledge sharing through the APN Science Bulletin. And APN Science Bulletin is open access in-house journal of APN, and we disseminate outcome of research and capacity development activities supported in the Asia Pacific. So this is an open access journal, and we hope to strengthen the impact factor of this journal. And we hope that a lot of you would be interested in getting funding or support from APN and in contributing an article to APN Science Bulletin. So I think that's it. And this is the end of my presentation. But before I just say, I just want to say thank you. And I just also want to give this announcement or advertise that we have already launched the 2021 call for proposals. And the deadline is on the 5th of December.